Hi, I'm Marie Elizabeth Molly, and this is Relationship Alchemy. Today, we're going to be talking about couples in business with Ivan and Mariana Polic. Ivan and Mariana Polic are former aerospace executives, and they're international speakers and advisors, best-selling authors of Bringing Legacy and Innovation. They bring over 12 years of experience advising small and medium-sized businesses across many industries, finding leverage points to ensure sustainability in and out of crisis. Ivan and Mariana have been married for 24 years, and they've been working together as well. So I'm super excited to have this conversation. And so welcome to the show, Ivan and Mariana.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to it because this is a topic we have a lot of experience in.
Well, yeah, you have so much experience, and it's a topic that can be sticky for a lot of people of how to work effectively with their spouse. So let's start. What's one thing that you've worked out that maybe was a challenge before that you had to figure out that works really well now?
Yeah, well, throughout the years, we have done different kind of work together. So we wrote a book together, which writing a book together, that's a journey. We managed an aerospace business together. So I was in the position of a CEO, and Mariana was the CCO, the Chief Cultural Officer. So in this particular business, there was a lot of demanding things to be taken care of around the team, and things, lots of stress, building mission critical parts for the aerospace, for planes. If you fly on a plane, you are flying on the power of some of our parts. So all the commercial airlines as well as military applications, we did that for many years.
Amazing.
And, Mariana was brought in as the Chief Cultural Officer as a support for me, because I was very stressed out. So the things that worked in our relationship, we found a way to leverage in our work life. And then throughout the journey, we now founded the Systemic Approach Institute. So we're now co-founders of the Systemic Approach Institute, and Mariana is now the CEO. So last year we exited our aerospace business, and that was a long time coming, something we wanted to do for a long time. But now that we are now full time in the institute, we felt that Mariana's strengths for this particular venture were more suited for the CEO position, and kind of setting the boundaries and setting the direction for where we're going. And my strengths are more in terms of the relating with the clients and the actual deep engagement that we make with our clients and their businesses. So that's kind of, we flip roles. So we wanted to share that, as that's a very unique thing that people can see, that depending on the venture that you're involved in, different strengths will come into view and be needed.
Right. And I would say the one thing is we like being around each other, so that makes it much easier. So that's number one. If you like being around each other, everything is easier. And I just remember one scene when I went into Ivan's office at the previous company, and I was upset about something, and I started kind of venting, and he was deep in doing something. And he said, "Are you talking to me as my CCO? Or are you talking to me as my wife?" Which broke the pattern, if you will, paused me in my tracks. And then I thought, who am I talking as? So that was a pivotal point to understand. When you are a couple in business, obviously you're, at home and you're at work, you're all the time together, and all the lines get blurry. But if you remember the roles in certain situations when it's high leverage, that's what helps a lot.
That is such a powerful story, because it's funny, I was just having a conversation with someone last week on a similar vein around navigating someone who's having a hard time, especially a partner. And we came to a similar, this is something Patrick and I do in our relationship, if one of us starts talking, the other one will say something to the effect of, are you wanting to vent, or are you wanting to help me to help you solve this? So I'm hearing a similar genius here of being very clear about the roles so that you know how to tune your listening, but also so the speaker knows from where they're speaking, and it can speak the right thing, that they need, right? So brilliant.
Yes, for sure. And having the respect for the role as well. Ivan is such a powerful creator. And, when he goes into explaining and creating in the big picture, which sometimes for me, I'm not there yet. So I have to pause and, provide the space where he can express, and then I take it in, and then that sounds amazing.
That's so great. And the thing I also really want to highlight that I love in what you just described is that attention to being flexible about who's in what position according to their strengths. So I'm really hearing both of you focusing on what are my strengths, what is my partner's strengths, and how do we support those strengths in this particular situation, which can be different. So in one company, Ivan's the CEO, and the other company, Mariana's the CEO, because that's the better fit for each of your strengths.
Yeah,
as opposed to like some default along gender lines or whatever,
That's right. Yeah, gender lines. That's a very slippery slope, and we really look to integrate. It's really an integration of both of our strengths that is going into this new venture, and that's why we're doing it this way. All the work with our clients as well. If
Say more.
Yeah, so when if people can do a simple test, write their name with the left hand, print their name with the right hand, and right below it, print their name with the left hand, and then see what happens in that experience. And usually what happens is that it takes more effort to write with the left hand. It takes more energy. It's more stressful. And then at the end, the result is worse.
Mm-hmm.
After investing all of that extra energy into it, the result is still poor. And so that's what
obviously whichever is your non-dominant hand. So
that's
someone's left-handed.
Whichever your dominant hand is, and whichever your strengths are, whichever is your nature when you're approaching things. Are you a detailed person, or are you a big picture person? And
yes,
if you're working in a place where you're naturally not strong, it's very taxing.
Yes.
So more energy goes into it, and more energy is wasted. And we take that into account very much when we're working with organizations and teams and looking to optimize the effectiveness of the team and the closeness and collaboration. Having people be aware of what is their non-dominant handwriting activity, and how can you minimize that in your daily life. So probably 80% you want to be in your full natural strength, is if you can, and then the 20% the stuff that we all have to do. So
do you find that if there are couples, so you two have very complementary strengths, it sounds like, and do you see that a lot? Because what comes up for me is like, what if both people in the couple or everybody on the team, which is not likely with a team, but go with me for a second, is like, let's say all the people skew toward big picture, and there isn't a great detail person. Then what?
Yeah, that happens a lot, actually. And so what happens is there's a little bit of cloning going on. So people with certain preferences like people that have those preferences.
Exactly.
So they start adding more clones to themselves, and that becomes a little bit off balance. And so we look at that, and then we support. If the two partners have the same strengths, then we look what would be the balancing individual that could be added to a kind of a triad approach.
Yeah.
For that task, or for that organization. So triads are very important in our work, and it's really the most basic start of a we are great culture.
Mm.
When you have just two people, there could be a little bit of competition going on, like I am great and you are not great, and how do we navigate that? But when you have a triad of people, three people involved, you can really build a kind of we are great collaborative
Yes.
space. And so that's something that we work on a lot.
I love that you brought in the triad, because I just want to highlight quickly when I talk about relationships, when I'm working with people who are in a relationship, there's also a triad existing in the relationship, which is the one person, the other person, and what I call the third, or the union, the field of the relationship itself. And same thing in a relationship, if it's just the two people thinking about my way or the highway, or I need to win, or it's a difficult dynamic. But as soon as both people put their attention on what is best for our union here, what is best for the field of the relationship, it's a whole different conversation, and it gets you out of that one up, one down thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really great. It provides the context for what are we here to do that's beyond just the personal preferences of each person. So it really sets the stage, and really there are a lot of parallels between the intimacy work, the relationship work that translates into organizational development and organizational progression. And we do that all the time, relating in a way that is going to support the productivity and the collaboration of the team is all there is. That's crucial for organizations to grow.
Right. And what you said earlier about when everybody's the same, and like if there's two people that have same strengths, what about then? Or the flip coin of that will be when people are different and they can't get along because of judging the differences, and we can't overcome it. In our case, it will be as if I was gonna say, he's too big picture, I can't follow. Or no, if he was gonna say, oh my gosh, she's so practical, we can't, we can't really.
He has no vision.
Right. So that's when we come in and lean into each other's differences and use the other person as our helper where we have a blind spot, or we allow for our own, I don't want to say, well, not shortcomings per se, but something that, if I'm not proficient in this, like for instance, numbers are not my thing, math, no way. So I married a calculator. He's really good.
I married a calculator too. It's so cool.
Amazing. And then Ivan is he doesn't care for fixing things. His genius is not into repairing stuff. I love to repair stuff. So it's complementing, leaning into, and appreciating the differences that as opposed to letting it drive the wedge between two people.
And that requires a lot of self-knowledge, as well as willingness to, put the ego aside for a second and see what's actually happening, right? What if someone is on, let's say, this side, like the before side of having that level of self-responsibility, self-awareness, what's the first thing they can do in their business partnership or intimate partnership to start taking more responsibility there, to start catching themselves more quickly when they're in a judgment? Is there something that helped you kind of get there?
If you can soften around your preferences.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So, if you can start to open to other perspectives, start to balance your perspectives. So not to be so, not to have such hard lines about, I like this, I don't like this. This is how it is. This is how, so I think it's a byproduct of appreciating the the not known, the unknown, appreciating what you don't know yet. Okay, and it requires a little bit of suspending of your knowledge.
Mhm.
So like, can we leave back all the stuff that we know so we can be open to the moment? Because in the moment, there's opportunity to expand whatever it is that you are observing or relating with. And if you bring all your stuff to it, you're just gonna get more of that. There's no room for the new. There's no room for the unknown, for the mystery, for the, you know. And I'd like to say always when we speak about these things, you know, this is my belief. If you take all the knowledge of the world, of civilization from the beginning of time to now, and you take it all into one pile of knowledge, okay, that pile is dwarfed with the unknown.
Mm.
So, you know, and the unknown, the mysteries of creation and universe and all of these things, they are not going to be revealed in our lifetimes.
Right.
So if they're not going to be, it's going to take a few, maybe 100 years, maybe who knows how long until we can uncover the mystery of all that we don't know. So in the meantime, we just might as well relax and lean into the unknown because it's so vast. There's so much to learn. There's so much to explore. There's so much to enjoy when you come and you relate with something. So coming to the moment fresh is always a really great way to expand your perspective.
Mhm.
How about for you, Mariana? That was beautiful. And I just am delighted over here. How about for you?
Well, it's the way I look at it is all of us want a better quality of life, whatever that may be, you know, even if it's a quality of relating, quality of being, feeling, having, you know, whatever it is. So if you want to have the better quality of life, introspective, I think it's, you know, always where you start, which is, you know, your philosophy too, Marie. It's you, okay, what do I need to do in order to have a better quality of life? What is one thing that is right now hindering from me from getting the better quality of life? And more time than others, it's the quality of relating to the spouse, to the team, to your children, to your parents, to, you know, to whatever,
yourself.
to
Yeah.
yourself. Exactly. So
Yeah.
how am I showing up in this equation with, you know, with my surroundings? What can I do to better that? What can I do to change the perspective? What can I discover about myself, going back into the unknown, that I didn't know before, that was either amazing and I haven't used it, or it's actually really asshole-ish and, you know, I come off as such. So it's, you know, so self-discovery, you know, just like Ivan said, what is the dominant hand? What am I great at? What am I not so great at? And then going around and seeing how, you know, as a piece of the puzzle, you can go into somebody else's life and help them and allow them also to help you and give you their perspective of you.
Beautiful. And I'm hearing also it really takes a kind of humility, right, to get off your own perspective for a minute. Is that something that came natural, or did you really have to cultivate that quality of being able to go, hang on, there's a giant mystery here, and my little piece of knowledge is this big, you know, like, did that take a while to kind of ground as the base?
Yeah, you know, from a young age, I remember looking up at my parents and thinking, how come these amazing two humans that are incredible, they're look at them, they're amazing, how come they can't get along? Like, what is going on here? Like you're really like, what is happening here? It didn't make sense. And so from that young age, I was always looking for why are these things happening like this? And so now, you know, 40 plus years later, you know, through each challenge in my life, you know, that I had to solve, that I had to overcome, you know, I've always been looking on how to upgrade my approach so that I can achieve things that I wanted to achieve, but not along the way, enjoy the process and relate and have people that are going to be a lasting thing. Tomorrow is our anniversary, 24 years in marriage. So this relationship alchemy comes at the right time for us, because tomorrow we're going to be celebrating. Right. And so, yeah, that's kind of like the approach of constant exploration and expansion towards a better way to live.
Yeah, you're really describing that. First of all, happy anniversary. That's so fantastic. And you're really describing somehow at a young age, you really got a growth mindset, right? You're really describing it to a T, that difference between having a growth mindset toward yourself and life versus a fixed of like, this is just how it is, you know? How about for you, Mariana? Was that natural for you too, or did you have to grow into that?
It was more natural than having to grow into it. And I guess I grew up on a farm, you know, and there's a lot of hard work, and you just suck it up and you don't complain, and, you know, you work, which was great. You know, it provided a really good work ethic for me to this day. And I do appreciate every single, you know, day that I was there. And I always also knew that that's not how I want to live my life. That is not who I am, that there is something bigger out there but I didn't know what that was. So for me, I had to really open my perspectives in terms of, okay, well, I have this experience. What is it that I want to, well, I went to college, and my degree was in journalism and language. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's great. And I did work as a TV reporter at one point. That's how we met. And, you know, so that was actually really cool for me, because I do have that as well. You know, his mom always says, you're my reporter, because I always send her pictures when we go places and things like that. And then I ended up being a chief cultural officer, you know, in our manufacturing company. And now we're advising people. And somehow I always felt like helping is the higher purpose of my existence here. But what the avenue was, you know, I wasn't really sure. So it was important to, you know, keep the perspectives open. So I guess it kind of came easier for us than, you know, maybe some other people. But in a way, again, if your purpose is high enough to have a better quality of life, you will find a way to incorporate more perspectives.
Well, we're really a divine union, like, because I was playing professional soccer, and Mariana was interviewing me. That's how we met.
Wow.
And so I could use several keywords in my interview that made all the difference for our relationship furthering, because it's clearly not the looks that are working here. So that's just a story we laugh about always, and how that interview happened, and how everything happened after that. So it's just a funny side note.
I love that. And what an unexpected way to meet. That's so cool. And then to have created all these different, you know, these different companies and so much evolution together, because I'm hearing in both your stories a fundamental clarity about the through line, about the purpose, but a willingness to allow the form of that purpose to evolve, which really feels like the ideal balance in a relationship too, right? It's like you're clear about your love for each other, the purpose, your connection that you want to have, but the form may sometimes change. Like sometimes one of you might be more on the road than the other, and you might be navigating long distance. Like Patrick and I are navigating a fair amount of long distance at the moment because I'm on the road a lot. And then at other times, both of you are at home all the time. Like during the pandemic, we were all at home for a long time. So there's different forms the relationship may take, but the through line is the thing that carries, right? And so I'd love to talk about a bit more about, I love this term, chief cultural officer. And is that something I don't know that businesses really earlier realized how important culture is. Was that something that you innovated because you were like, oh, we need to tend to the culture Like, talk about that, because I think that's fascinating.
Right. Well, he did it. Ivan was when he took over the company, there was a clear need for shift in direction when it comes to, how the business is done, and then more so how the culture was and what the vision for it is and was. And, you kind of, how I look at it, how he did it is that he looked at what was there, compared it to the vision, and then he's really, really good in finding resources and finding, marrying people to projects and initiatives. And then he figured, she would be a really good fit to help me build this together.
Mhm.
And, so when I came in, I do have a natural way of, like for people relating and taking care of people and, and kind of, going as far as mothering to a certain extent. So, I believe that for him was not just, okay, I'm going to get another person here who's my wife, who's going to help me and support me and, make another number for the new initiative. It was like, she has qualities that can help, and we're going to be on this road together. So he said, okay, you're going to start, and, your title is going to be the chief cultural officer. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. I had no idea. And then we actually Googled it. He wasn't even there years later.
It didn't exist yet.
No, he was
Oh.
actually an innovator when it comes to that. And it
Wow.
worked out. And everywhere we went and he introduced me as such, or I introduced myself, they're like, oh my God, that is so cool. So what do you do? And I was like, I take care of everybody.
Well, first of all, I love that. I had no idea that idea sort of originated there with you. And to me, it makes so much sense, because it has to feel good, like it's going to work better if it feels good, whether it's an intimate relationship, whether it's couples working together in a business, whether it's a team working together in a business. You do have to look at the culture and the vision, how they match up, because if you have this big vision, but everybody's an asshole to each other, it's going to be really hard. I mean, you see this happening a bit with, I don't want to name names, but with certain companies that are very involved in cars and space, there's a difficulty with the culture, and it's having an impact on the company, right? So, like being able to have a culture that's not only on board with the vision, but also enjoys each other.
Mhm.
I imagine that changes everything in the company.
Yeah, culture of an organization is either an asset or a liability.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's actually really a hard material asset or liability. So if you have a team that is getting along and that is functioning well as a healthy ecosystem, if you would, if you have a healthy ecosystem, that ecosystem is going to have more life and more overflow of everything. And if you don't have a healthy ecosystem, you can have the opposite effect. You can have a cancerous culture. You can have a culture that is going to actually drain all your marketplace genius that you may have, is all going to be drained in the culture war of problems that you're going to have and you're going to have to deal with.
Mhm.
And so one of the things that we do when we work with our clients on their scaling of their businesses is, how do we get the right people together, and how do we match them up complementary ways, and what is it that we're trying to accomplish here? You talked about the purpose of the relationship and where we're heading. What's the purpose of this organization? What's the founder's vision that this started upon, and how can we leverage that all together so that we can create a clear path? That's what we do a lot with our clients. We create a clear path for them, a custom path, a custom roadmap, if you would, for them to know what is on their journey, and what's the first part of it and the second part of it, and how do they navigate scaling of their business in a best way, so that not only do they have the abundance of money and profits and all of these things, but they have an abundance of high quality of life that is involved in the process of building and arriving.
Right.
And actually enjoying it along the way, right? Not waiting till you're at a certain point before you get to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which so many people do. So I understand you have a really cool free gift along these lines of a custom roadmap. Can you say a bit more about that?
Yeah, so if you're listening to this and you are a business owner and you're looking to scale your business, you're looking to grow your business, and you would like to see what are some best practices around that and what would be a roadmap for you, we put together something cool, and we're calling it the 3 Secret Shifts Discovery Session. And what are the key shifts that you make in our work and in our journey? We found that usually there are 3 key shifts that if you make those 3 key shifts, you will open up the potential of your business scaling and growing. And so this session is kind of like, how can you double your revenue, triple your profit, and 10x your valuation? Because once you make these 3 key shifts, you will enable all that to happen. It's a kind of like an overflow model. So all out of the goodness of what we're doing currently, how can we overflow with that goodness for the maximum benefit of us, the clients, and the organization? So we have a little bit of a form. So if you are one of those people that are looking to scale, if you fill out this form, we will get together with you on a call and give you our best insights on what would be your 3 key shifts that are between you and really making lots of progress in your business.
I love that. And the call is with both of you.
Yes, it's always with both of us. That's the thing that clients love the most, that they get 2 different perspectives. And that's kind of it's interesting and fun and all kinds of things.
Yeah, so you really are together 24/7. Like you don't even get away from each other on the call.
No, not on the call. You know, when Ivan goes for a walk, then he's like, "You want to go on a walk with me?"
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
Is it ever like, no, I need my space?
Once out of 10.
What?
Once out of 10, I will say, I don't feel like going now, but usually.
That's pretty awesome. That I just want to celebrate that, that you've created the kind of partnership where you can really be life and business partners out of enjoyment. Like I just hear so much joy and pleasure and play and evolution and growth in the way you describe how you work together and how you've evolved your relationship over the past 24 years through all these different professions and companies, and it's just really beautiful to hear. And I hope my audience, I hope y'all are as inspired by this amazing couple as I am, because I just think it's really beautiful, and you're just a powerful example for what's possible in the world when we do our work and when we have a vision that we are willing to surrender to.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here with you. Every time I see any of your branding, I feel so much resonance. I feel so much so much quality and presence within it. When I see your posts on social media, it's always something uplifting and something that's providing wisdom and providing awareness. And so it's really an honor to be a part of this, and really a pleasure to know you and your work.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. Back at you, 100%. So thank you. Until next time, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this show. I just love this conversation. I'm going to actually check out the 3 secrets myself. I'm excited to go click that link. So all the information is in the show notes, their website, the link to the free gift, all of it is there below. So check it out if you are a business owner and wanting to scale. And until next time, remember that a great relationship and a great business starts with you.